Welcome, Kendra Arneson.
Thank you. Okay, I'm not usually a speech giver, so you guys bear with me. I'll try to make this as painless as possible. To explain to you where I live, I am indeed the one on the very end. I am at point 5 on Highway 23 in South Plaquemines Parish, Louisiana. Keep in mind through what I have to say that I am the mother of a 5-year-old little boy and an 8-year-old little girl who look like their dad. That being said, when this first happened, I really didn't know what to do, who to ask questions to, who was going to give us answers. The first day we were introduced to anyone from BP, they came into our building and said, BP does business right. Yeah, can you believe that? BP does business right and we're here to take care of everything, folks. Well, 61 days later, that's a joke, to say the least. Just to give you guys kind of a perspective of where I've been. 4 weeks ago, I stood up at a town hall meeting and I indeed did pin down all involved. And I had them stuttered by the end of their speech. At any rate, I was invited the following week to go behind enemy lines. They gave me, of all people, security clearance to go into the base of operations meetings in Venice, Louisiana, 8 a.m., open door invitation to sit like a fly on the wall. Can you believe it? It's really going on. They also gave me security clearance to go into the Homa Incident Command Post, which is over the entire region of Louisiana. I've been in Coast Guard planes all the way out to the site itself, helicopters, boat rides. I have been everywhere anybody could ever want to go to really get an inside look as to what's going on. Now I want to start by telling you guys that I am not at all impressed. Someone told me this morning that they thought I had crossed over. Well, I picked a team a long time ago. My father was a commercial fisherman, and my husband's a commercial fisherman. Every man that I've ever known, loved, and respected is on the water. They're good men. At any rate, for the past week, I've heard in the ops meeting, we need to cut costs. Yes, that is what they've said, that they need to cut costs. I almost came out of my chair the first time I heard it, but I'm trying to stay where I am because someone has to be on the inside overlooking and seeing as to what's going on around. That being said, where I've seen cutting costs is quite unfortunate. What we call in Venice, what they call, first we've got to understand this phrase, ponies and balloons. Well, the only place I've ever seen ponies and balloons is at a circus, right? At any rate, about a week and a half in, I learned what ponies and balloons meant. Ponies and balloons means that every time an official is headed anywhere near here, they get a heads up. All assets are deployed into the hardest hit areas. The official comes in, flies over, good job fellas, pats them on the back. When the official disappears out of the hardest hit area, so does 75 to 80% of the response. It's happening every day. I'm watching it, I'm seeing it. I don't agree with it. Anyone in this room is not going to agree with it, and our great nation's not going to agree with it. We are expendable to these people. We do not matter. Now, I'm going to get off that, and I'm sorry I talk in circles, but that's the coon ass in me. Y'all can follow me, then let me know. At any rate, I'm going to go into the health issues for a moment, if you don't mind. I've sat through endless hours of meetings with BP's safety officers. I've sat through an hour and 45-minute meeting with the Coast Guard safety officer, both in the Homa Incident Command Post, as well as a gentleman from OSHA. In order to obtain a respirator for our responders, now this isn't just commercial fishermen, I'm talking about Coast Guard members, all responders, people off the street, everybody involved. Number one, they have to fill out an ocean questionnaire. Number two, they have to have a physical evaluation by a medical professional. But EPA is doing air monitoring. Everything's okay, it's great. Yeah, imagine that. At any rate, there is in fact some acts somewhere in OSHA's law that says that volunteers have a right to wear a volunteer respirator. But, as we all know, BP has taken over our golf. BP rules right now our golf. I mean, bottom line, that's who's in charge of this situation. They couldn't even run their own company and they were in charge of this response. I'm totally appalled. They can't wear a volunteer respirator because if they're not properly trained, BP's rules are they have to be properly trained in order to wear a respirator. Now, BP said that they will provide the training and they will provide a respirator, but everything's okay. So they don't need to be trained and they don't need a respirator. And as far as the right to wear volunteer respiration, guess what? If you don't follow BP's rules, you don't have a job. And that's what they told me. Now, I asked them to discuss the 7 men that were brought, 1 by helicopter and 6 by ambulance. I asked them if they were at liberty to discuss that with me. And they said, yes, ma'am, we are. I guess these guys didn't realize who they were talking to. Number 1 response from Mr. Hayward was food poisoning. 4 different boats, all in way away from each other, food poisoning. Second response was heat exhaustion. Then, Wednesday a week ago, when I sat with OSHA and BP safety officer, the OSHA man informed me that all 4 boats took Pine Sol, sprayed it all over their boats, and then sat and breathed in the fumes all day long, and that's what caused the chemical poisoning. Hold on a second. I've been on boats all my life. I've been with captains all over the place. When we spray something on our boat, we wash it right off. If not, it eats the paint off the boat. We take care of our stuff. So that right there was just a blatant out lie. So then I asked him to throw one out of left field at him. I said, well, what about the people on 9/11? He said, it's funny you asked me about that because I was working that job. We were following them around with respirators, begging them to put them on. And he actually pointed the finger at our New York firefighters. Yeah, he did. People who are dying a slow death as we sit in this room right now from chemical poisoning, pointed the finger at them and said that they turned around and gave him the 1 finger salute and said, we're not wearing a respirator, we're looking for our friends. Trained firefighters in New York? Are you serious?